Hi, guys.
Hello.
Welcome back. This is Candace.
This is Simon.
And we are back after having a week off from the Magic Hour podcast.
Yes.
Big thank you to Kill the Messenger for having us back and hosting us.
Hugo in the corner, Sean,
Yes.
Eric, all the team. How are you?
I'm good.
I haven't seen you, so we had a week off and I hadn't seen you for the week.
I've been MIA.
I resorted to creeping on your social media pages.
I have been hiding out a little bit.
Yeah.
For the past week. It's been really crazy. It's been a little bit of me readjusting after doing the ayahuasca because I feel like this one reacted a little bit different. It had a delay.
Okay.
But also I've just been really busy. I've been really crisis center 911 all day
What's
seeing
going
clients.
on?
I think it's because we are coming into eclipse season. So, every 6 months, every year, every 6 months, we have 2 eclipses. And this year, the eclipses started in Aquarius and in Leo. So this is the second Leo eclipse in the month of August, the first Aquarius eclipse. And when we have eclipses, I feel like there are major dramatic things happening unexpectedly. So people are already feeling the effects of that about a month to a month and a half prior.
And who's feeling those effects? Everyone, or are
Everyone.
they falling in certain signs?
They do fall in certain signs. So I think it's interesting because certainly Leos in Aquarius or major Leo in Aquarius placement are feeling it, really feeling it.
And is it? I don't want to use the word negative, but is that how they're feeling it, or is it bringing out almost the best in them, or is it?
It's just literally, I look at eclipses where if we didn't have eclipses, we would get too comfortable and we would not evolve. So eclipses are like those phone calls where you find out suddenly that you have to move and you get a 30-day notice only to freak out and stress out about moving, to find out that you move to another city and you get another job and then maybe you meet someone new and then they end up being your life partner.
Wow.
These are the kinds of things that kind of give us a shove in a certain direction.
Okay.
These ones are, I think, they're difficult to handle because they're fixed. They're in the fixed signs, which is immediate, this is no negotiation, we are changing.
Yeah.
But they're in easier signs. So they're in Aquarius and they're in Leo. And Leo and Aquarius rule the 5th house of pleasure and romance and children and having fun.
Okay.
And Aquarius, which is about the community and coming together and friends and associations. So with the North Node, meaning, we know what karma and dharma is. Karma is what we aim for. Karma is what we come into this life with. Dharma is what we're aiming for. So the North Node is the Dharma, and the North Node right now is in Leo. So you're seeing a lot of people making some very daring decisions. And because we have Uranus and Saturn, which is unexpected stuff, and Saturn is lessons, trining the North Node, people are making some very quick, on the fly, gotta choose now choices. And what we're realizing is because we're in the midst of not 1 but 2 Leo new moons, everybody thinks we have this situation that's going to go one way, and we're realizing that we're being shown multiple options.
Oh wow.
So it's I have a client that was already had everything set up, was going to pack up and move across the country and start a new job as a coach. And he was telling me, I'm going to do this. And then come to find out that the apartment he was going to rent, the keys got locked out. And I was like, well, that's interesting. That's kind of weird. And I thought about it, but then I was like, maybe it's just an unexpected happening.
Yeah.
Only to find out that he signed a contract, agreed to go work at this job, and then literally days later got offered to go to Miami and get a better paying job. That's more exposure. So it's if you think you're going one way, the universe is serving you up things going do you want this or do you want that? And it all has to do with these very Leo themes. It's what our heart wants. It's love. It's children. It's fun. It's a lot of creative energy. And so things are happening very quickly. And I think during eclipse season, I kind of have a tendency to kind of hide because I want to avoid some of these situations. But
you don't want the universe to show you all the options.
But they and it doesn't just have to be if you're an Aquarius or if you are a Leo. You can have an Aquarius rising. And with the South Node going there, you can be losing some aspect of yourself, or maybe even making a change in where you're living. Versus, the North Node being going, through Leo. If that's, your rising sign, you could be finding that you're finding aspects of yourself and really reconnecting with yourself. Or if it's the North Node on your moon, you're emotionally kind of reaching new heights and learning new lessons. Because the North Node is hard. Like, we will incarnate over and over and over again to achieve our North and our South Node. And these eclipses are on my North and my South Node. So it's like all of these karmic people are being sucked into my life like a black hole. And then I've got all this Aquarius stuff that's going on, which it makes me very anxious. I'm not going to say nervous. It just makes me anxious because I never know which way it's going to play out. Wow. So it's in my house of children. So I'm like, please don't let me get pregnant. That's the one thing that I'm like trying to avoid. But
that's why you've been staying just in the house.
That can create quite the opposite effect too.
Yeah, that's true. This is true.
We're gonna cut that out of the video. No, I'm just kidding. But no, it's fun because I realize that I learn a lot about astrology through reading other people's charts and hearing their stories, and you can I can kind of connect the dots, and it's really it's so I've had kind of like this breakthrough week where I think you're getting older when you're really excited to stay home all week and like listen to Audible, like, and cook food in your food processor.
No,
and
look,
I'm like,
first of all, I just want to say I'm older than you. Not that much, but I'm older than you. And let me tell you, there is no shame in those feelings. I did go to a festival over the weekend, so that is kind of an excuse. But oh my God, every night thus far, I have gone home and I've laid my ass on that couch and I've ate popcorn and I've watched HBO. And I don't care.
Yeah, it's just so
social life.
Well, I mean,
right
I kind of talked to you about like what I've been dealing with the past 2 weeks, and so what's really interesting is I've been dealing with changes in my diet and stuff, and I've been realizing that like I can't tolerate some foods. So I was like, okay, I gotta roll with this, and then kind of went on a bender and decided to order a food processor and a bunch of like vegan cookbooks and had it in my mind.
Oh gosh, have you gone real vegan?
I mean, I'm pretty there.
Oh God,
I'm pretty there. I mean, I think the only thing I occasionally will fall off on is I will occasionally have some dairy. But I'm not like going to town and eating cheeseburgers or anything. I'm being pretty good.
So on the subject of dairy, this is so random. I am like obsessed. Right. First of all, disclaimer. In the country where I come from, the UK, half and half doesn't exist.
Oh, cream all the way,
baby.
Half
and half isn't a thing. Like, you have milk, you have cream.
Yeah.
And then America, of course you fucking put it together.
I like cream.
I'm like obsessed with it.
I like cream.
And it's
you
so
love
bad
half
for
and
me.
half.
I love it, but it's so bad for me. And I've been for a while going, I shouldn't be drinking this much of that. Like, I know this is where my calories are.
That stuff is some of the worst stuff that you can drink. It's supposed to be
ayahuasca.
Leading. Oh.
But not even like I'm going to do this, just subconsciously. No, I don't want that.
I haven't had any coffee.
I don't want that. I've been drinking coffee, but I have soy milk. But it's just been like, I don't want that. And I haven't had half and half.
I heard some bad stuff. I mean, hopefully somebody will fact check me. But I heard that those half and half creamers or the flavored creamers are like some of the worst stuff you can put in your body.
Absolutely they are. I mean, it's just corn syrup and God knows what else.
It's just weird. I have to tell you some funny stuff that happened this week. But I went off the deep end and I basically bought a food processor and then a bunch of books and then patiently waited by my front door for 2 days for my Amazon delivery. And then I got it. And I got a little mandolin slicer for my veggies and stuff because I was like, yeah, I'm going to use this.
Yeah, who the fuck are you?
Who am I?
Right
so I listened to Audible again. I did that. And so I've kind of bounced back a little bit. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to be here, first of all. And I told you that I'm getting ready to go to San Francisco
It's exciting.
For a week or so.
And that's a break for you, isn't it?
Oh my God. I'm lucky to get 2 days off in a row. So for me to leave for a week and to like shut everything down and be like, peace, and especially in the midst of like eclipse season, people are having meltdowns. I have a wait list right now because I actually opened a couple days up to see people before I leave. But like I want to go
have a break,
and
Good
I want to
for
go
you.
look at some stuff, and I'm gonna do some exciting, crazy. I'm going through some rebellious stuff right now.
Hang on,
so.
do we overlap? Oh, no, you go this week, and then you get back next.
Yeah, because I couldn't get that weekend off. I wanted to go with you.
So you literally come back on Thursday, and I go on Friday.
But that's fine.
Damn.
That's fine. We'll have really good stories because
We
I'm
will.
going and I'm staying with a gay friend of mine, and he's a hairdresser. He owns a salon out there.
Oh, would that be Glenn
Yeah.
by any chance? Yes.
Well, it's funny because I called Glenn and we were talking on the
so
phone
lovely.
because Rob was here this weekend, and so
Yes, of
I was
course.
telling him, I was like, I'm just going through some shit,
Mm.
and he's like, okay, so you want to go blonde? And I was like, fuck it. So I'm gonna go out there and he's gonna do something crazy with my hair, so it'll look totally different when I come back.
Good. I do like you blonde.
We'll see. We'll see. I'm kind of just like, I want to bleach my hair and pierce my nose. I'm just going through one of those phases.
Do it.
Oh yeah, fuck it.
Fuck yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited to hear what you go and do. I'm gonna go and be there, and I want to go to the museums. I want to have like a trip where I go and do something by myself, which is very interesting.
you.
That's not me. I'm
Yeah.
very much the buddy system
Well,
person.
I know exactly where you should
Yeah.
go. You need to go to the Redwoods. You
Okay.
absolutely
I'm gonna do
need
that
to
too. I'm gonna
that.
hit all the magic shops up there
Yeah.
too because there's a lot of really great magic
Oh
shops.
my gosh! Please name drop that one that you sent me to on a
Oh,
little
the
errand.
Sword in the Rose. The Sword in the Rose is one of my favorite shops in San Francisco.
amazing.
It's run by this man. He used to run it with his husband. It's amazing. It's like you would never know unless you're in like that community or the occult community. All the products, handmade, beautiful stuff. Incense, oils, stones, everything. I love that
Just-
stuff.
I mean, I only knew about it because I was there and you sent me.
I know. I had
on
a
little
meltdown. I was
errand
like, you
there.
must buy me this incense and this oil.
And I went there with my roommate, and we would just got lost in this vortex.
It's magical.
That is a real magic.
It's a real magic shop.
Real
that
magic
and
shop.
sometimes I'll go. It's like an hour or so north of SF. I go to Forestville,
Okay.
and they have the Lucky Mojo curio company up there. So that place is amazing too. It's all kinds of like hoodoo root work, traditional
nice.
mojo bags, oils, candles. You know, I bought a whole bag of stuff to read bones from there, and they teach classes, and it's just magic. So I'm basically just gonna go up there and just do my
you for a
thing. Just do
week.
my thing
Turn
for a
your
week and come
thumb off
back. And I'm getting really excited to have these eclipses because I'm seeing how they're manifesting in my life and the kind of what's going on, and trying to put together some ideas and some projects and some stuff that I'm going to do. And it's interesting. I mean, that's why I was telling you it's really important to learn about, you know, your North Node to understand what you need to work away from and what you need to work towards. And the more that I've thought about this for the past 2 months, I was just like, you know what? Like, I'm just going to start doing stuff that I want to do, and it's probably going to be different than the norm. And that's a lot of like what this is too. But like really putting it out there and being like, you know what? Like, I don't really give a shit. I'm not going to fit the stereo cookie cutter version of what other people are doing, but I don't care. So it's going to produce some interesting, it's producing some interesting stuff. That between that and talking to my Vedic astrologer, I have some interesting stories for you. So,
Oh my
but I'm interested in what you want to talk about because I
wanna
was like,
talk
this is
about
on you.
love.
Okay.
I always want to talk about love, but I want to do it in like a fun way. So I have got a bunch of celebrities who are together in relationships.
Okay.
Some of them are not in relationships.
Are you gonna put
I
Adriana
would
Grande in there?
just no, she's
Or
not
is
in
it
there. She's not in there
Ariana?
actually.
She's
Ariana,
not in there, okay.
Ariana's not in there. And I've got couples who were together and broke up.
Do you have
people
Brad and
who
Angelina
weren't?
in
I
there?
don't actually. I don't. But I've got some good ones. I've got some gems. So I have got their date of births.
Okay.
I've got their sun signs and I've got their rising signs.
Okay.
And so based off of that information, I'm hoping we can delve a little bit into like their life.
Yeah,
I
that's
guess.
fine. Yeah, I'm interested to talk about that.
Number one. So for better or for worse, I
Okay.
mean, this isn't like. This is probably the most powerful couple in the world. Now,
Jay-Z and Beyonce.
I
Right?
don't know. It's not. That's
Oh.
not who I was thinking of. No, I don't really support these people, but they are kind of the most powerful couple in the world. So Donald and Melania.
Okay, first of all, you gave me the
So-
green light to go there because I'm going to fucking tear the shit out of
of that.
this chart right now.
Yeah.
I know Donald's chart very well. I'm not familiar with hers.
Okay.
Is she a Leo?
She
What is
is
she?
a Taurus.
She's a Taurus.
And her rising is Capricorn.
Okay.
Now he is a Gemini, and his rising
I know it is 29
is
degrees
Leo.
Leo.
Look at her go.
And he has a Sag moon.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're doing moons and all of that
he's
shit.
a piece of shit.
Okay.
Okay, and so she is a Taurus with a Capricorn rising.
Yes, she is.
So, do you have the degrees or no?
Oh,
Okay, that's fine.
no.
So, okay,
Maybe
so
I could find
no,
them.
no, it's fine. Cap's the first house, so that means Aquarius is her second. That means Pisces is her third. Aries is her fourth, and then that means her fifth is going to be Taurus. So her moon, I'm sorry, her sun is in the fifth. That's why she's so beautiful, and she has a Capricorn rising. Here's what's very interesting. There's two major things that are going on with these two. If you pull up her chart, that would be great.
Yeah, I'm going to try right now.
You can just type in her name and then natal. So basically, let me just break down Trump a little bit because I know his chart very well. I've been following him for a while. He has several planets in Gemini.
She's 6 degrees Capricorn.
Rising.
Yeah.
And then her
Sun is Taurus, 5 degrees.
Okay, so, it's interesting. So, okay, we'll talk about that 5 degrees. Stuff's about to significantly change for her in a lot of ways. For him, he has a very split personality. And we see this and we see how he is and his inability to connect to what's real. But his sun is very close to the top part of his chart, along with his Mercury, always talking. And his moon is in Sag, which is the opposite sign. And so I find it very interesting that his moon is in Sagittarius and it's a little bit hidden and he's not able to emotionally really kind of connect with people. Off the bat, Gemini and Taurus to me sounds like a fucking nightmare.
Really? That's interesting.
Because Gemini is constantly downloading information, constantly talking, constantly connecting to people. And they're the first of Gemini is the first of the air signs, but Taurus is the very first of the earth signs. And Gemini is ruled by Mercury, the planet of communication, talk. And Taurus is ruled by Venus, and Taurus is fixed, and it's an earth sign. So earth signs already are very practical. They need something stable and sensible.
And just because we're talking about them and celebs, so maybe that's why she stayed in New York?
Well, Taurus women have a
didn't go
tendency
to
to
DC?
really fucking stick it out. But the Cap rising makes her very regal. It makes her very practical, very classy. I would be interested. What did you say her moon was?
Hang on, 6 degrees.
Oh, what is her moon though? What sign?
Capricorn also.
Oh, and her moon is Capricorn, so her moon's on her ascendant. So it's very interesting, and I find it a little odd because Pluto's going through Capricorn. So Pluto's been going through her first house and also going through her moon. The past several years, she's been dealing with this huge transformation and change within herself. And, Uranus is approaching in Taurus. To sum it up, I feel like Taurus women will stick it out and they can be very security based. And the Capricorn looks for somebody who also is very Saturn and somebody who is either very regal or somebody very practical who has a lot of sensibility. The Capricorn likes somebody who's very business-like. So from the outside, I could see why she would be with Donald.
Okay.
From the inside, I'm not so sure why. I know that right now Saturn is transiting his moon, so he's going through some shit emotionally, how he's dealing with women, how he's dealing with his emotions, how when we see it with his outbursts and how he's kind of flipping out.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Gemini are a little bit too airy-fairy and they have a tendency to kind of hop around a little bit. The men, I'm not necessarily talking about the women, but knowing his chart, to me, I think it's a match made in hell. I see why she would have committed to him, and that was more so I see from a security and a status basis with that Capricorn.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's a good match.
Behind closed doors, not great.
Virgo and Gemini maybe because they're both mutable and at least they can talk and they can communicate. Taurus women do so well with they do well with Scorpio men. Even though they're opposites, I think that's a good match. They do well with Cancers.
Okay.
Cancer men are really great for Taurus because Taurus women, they need to feel secure. I don't see how he makes her feel secure emotionally.
Yeah.
I don't see it. And it's interesting because Saturn's going to hit her ascendant soon. Saturn's going into Capricorn and it's going to hit her moon. So it's very possible as she's dealing with that transit, we also see that Uranus enters into Taurus and it gets very close to her sun, which means there could be a sudden disruption with her. She's being rebellious. She's rebellious with men. She could be rebellious with her partner or dealing with some kind of chaos as a result of her husband. So a lot will change with her. whether or not they stay together. He's like on the road to crazy town with that Saturn that's going to be stationed on his moon. So the next 2 months is going to be colorful and we're going to see the meltdowns continue.
Yeah.
But I'm not crazy about that match. I have an ex-boyfriend who has the exact same chart.
I don't know if you can even answer this question, but like I would love to just, and it's just a game, we're just having fun, but like of the couple, who is the better person?
Well, I don't know either one of them.
And I know that's hard because it's Donald Trump, so straight away you want to say Melania, but...
Here's my view. And this is going to sound really weird coming from me. I think good and bad is relative.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they were both born under those stars and they're playing out their obligation.
Mm-hmm.
Do I think that either one of them are bad? Not necessarily. I had to tell you, when I looked at Trump's chart, I had a better understanding of him because I looked at it and I went... Yeah, he's kind of a dick, but also he's very detached from reality when you see that he hides from his emotions. He gets people to back him and, run with stories for him and, kind of like corroborate things. And he really has a genuine issue with being able to tell what's real and to be connected with reality.
Wow.
And so that's when I realized, like, okay, is he necessarily a bad person? Has he made some bad choices? Yes. I don't think I have to say this. That's part of my job as an astrologer is to be fair. I don't think he's a bad person. I think that he has been dealt a very interesting hand and it's playing out exactly how I would interpret his birth chart.
Wow.
And so
it's crazy.
I don't know their relationship. She stands by him and she's got a lot of pressure. I've been laughing my ass off watching some of those videos online where they're like telling her like, blink twice if you want us to save you situations or, and then you see all these things where it's like he'll try to hold her hand or he'll try to do something and she's like,
she does.
And she should. He's embarrassing.
What is that? Is that the
That's the
Taurus
Capricorn.
in here? That's the Capricorn
that's
in
the
here.
fuck off. That's the Capricorn.
All right, interesting. And disclaimer, I just want to say, I don't personally think they're the most powerful couple in the world, but they kind of are.
I still think Jay-Z and Beyonce.
Well, actually, okay, I was going to skip then.
I know she's a Virgo.
In the realm of Jay-Z and Beyonce, let's do Kim and Kanye. You ready? She is a Libra.
Sun.
He is a Gemini. She is a Sagittarius rising. He is a Cancer rising.
Interesting. Okay, which means he's a man-child. Gemini sun with Cancer rising, that's a man-child. Okay.
Just like that. I love it.
Cancer rising men Cancer rising in general takes longer to mature. Your rising sign is what you're dealing with immediately, and Cancer needs a lot of time to mature and to get out of this need to be nurtured and mothered. Mm-hmm. And so it takes time. It's interesting because Kanye has to be an early degree Gemini because his meltdown was a little bit earlier. We haven't heard a lot recently.
He's disappeared.
But that's a good thing because Saturn is still opposing his sun. This is the same thing we've been seeing.
He's going to come back with a bomb-ass album, though.
I'm sure he will.
I'm sure he's putting it into art. I'm sure he will.
Especially, okay, so is he an early degree?
He is in, what am I looking at now? His
sun,
17 degrees.
Okay, so it's mid. So, for the most part, most of his meltdown was like 2015 going into 2016 based off of where the degrees were.
Okay.
So he's like he's out of the fire, but he's still in the burning house. So the heat's still on him, but it's getting easier. That's why we haven't heard a lot from him, is I think he's recovering. What's his moon?
His moon is Pisces.
Pisces, okay. So he's got some major transits going on. You've got Saturn that was opposing his sun, which means he feels like no matter what he does, he can't win. And we've seen him have his breakdown. We saw his horrible clothing line go into the ground. Mm-hmm. And meanwhile, trying to maintain being a dad and stuff. So there's that. Then you've also have, because he's a Cancer rising, Pluto is in his house of relationships, which means he is having a very difficult time in relationships. They can be very supportive and transform him, or it can be ugly and it can kind of turn abusive. His moon being in Pisces, does it have the degree?
16 degrees.
Okay. So things are still on a mental, emotional level because, the moon is your emotions, are a little colorful because Neptune is going back and forth over his moon, which means he's probably really struggling to be sober. is what I would
Wow.
guess. Is he's dealing with sobriety. Neptune has to do with liquids. So and or issues with him being psychotic and really mentally and emotionally not being all there, because Neptune has us deal with illusions and whether or not we're dealing with addictions and emotional stuff that's happening. And then you've got what's going on with the opposition of his son. So he's gonna come out of it probably going into next year is what I would assume. But then again, Saturn's gonna show up into his 7th house, which means if he doesn't get it together this year, he's facing potential issues in his marriage, and he's also facing potential issues with other partnerships professionally. However, Saturn going into the 7th doesn't always, some astrologers go, oh, that could be a divorce. That's not a divorce. It's a make or break situation with your partners. And so Kim is a Libra.
She's a Libra.
You know.
She's Sagittarius rising, and her moon is in Pisces.
Okay.
Like him.
So she's going through the same shit emotionally.
His is 28 degrees, her moon.
So it's not, okay, that means her mother's crazy, by the way. So if you have like a late 28, 29.
Kris Jenner.
And she's crazy. I love her, though.
I love her.
I love her. The whole, like, you're doing great, sweetie.
It's so
thing
interesting that you say that. Wow. Okay.
So so let's start with her son. Her son's in Libra. Jupiter's in Libra this year, which means it's a good year for her. She's growing. She's being seen. Depending on how late the degree is right now, Jupiter is around 15, 16 degrees.
Do you want to know what her degree is? 28.
So that means something's going to be happening. She's going to be coming out with something or getting more exposure in the fall. So when Jupiter goes to a later degree. And her rising sign is Sag. And Saturn has been in Sagittarius since 2015. Interesting that when Kanye is going through what he's going through, we heard about it. He went into treatment. She was supportive, but was taking care of the kids. I see Saturn crossing your ascendant as being like a time where you are very isolated and you feel like you're on your own, and it's hard. And then having Neptune, around her moon, it's not there yet, but Chiron is on her moon, which means she's going through some real emotional issues with her mother. She's going through some real emotional issues trying to become a mother recently.
Being a mother.
She's also talking about having a surrogate. So I think that's a smart move, having Chiron on your moon, is getting a surrogate, because you never know what can happen.
That's so interesting, because she struggled with both of her pregnancies badly. That was really well documented. She really struggled.
With Saturn, and I don't know this stuff. I just know recently that she said she's going to get a surrogate. But if Chiron's on my moon and Saturn's on my ascendant, that's a really hard time getting pregnant.
She had very different. And I know this from the show, but she was taking treatments across many seasons.
Yeah,
and she also had 2 very rough pregnancies. On her body, she was hospitalized. She was very sick.
Well, and the thing is when you have a very late degree moon like that, because there's such karma sometimes associated with the mother, and we inherit that natally when we are born, genetically and energetic in our energetic bodies, having children can be difficult. It's not easy.
Good match? Good couple?
They're both fucking obnoxious and crazy. but, they both have the same moon, so emotionally they understand each other. I love that her rising sign is Sag. That puts his son around her 7th house, which makes him very much doting on her. And he's always been that way. He's in love with her. And I also like the fact that they're both air signs, which means they're going to understand each other. So that's a good match. I think that's a good match. And they were around each other for a while, and they were friends. And it was very evident that he was always in love with her, and that she's standing by him. But she also doesn't need another marriage under her belt. So I think that's part of it. If it's going to fall apart, it's going to fall apart because she leaves him when he has Saturn go into his 7th. It would be because Saturn is going through her 1st house and she's like, I'm out of here. I'm going to take care of myself. They're having a baby, though. So I don't think that's going to happen, but it probably would be her.
Interesting.
Oh, this is fun. I like
this. I love this. Now, this to me is like really, really interesting, because I've never seen this before. I'm sure you probably have. So we've got David and Victoria Beckham.
I was reading something about their south nodes and something about one of their Venuses on the south node.
Well, he is a Taurus.
Okay.
And his rising sign is Taurus.
Okay.
I've never seen that. You're acting so normal and like that's not a big
it's
deal
not a
at
big
all.
deal. That just means he's such
But
a
the sun and the
daddy.
moon were like in the
such a daddy.
He's such a fucking daddy.
Yeah, but
all right.
can you pull up his chart? I want to know if he's a 12th house sun.
Okay.
Because when you have somebody who your rising sign and your sun sign is the same, first of all, you really embody the characteristics of that.
Who?
Of that chart, of that sign. But secondly, if you have the same rising sign as the sun, we need to know if the sun is in the first house or if it's in, scroll up, or if it's in the 12th house. Go back to the chart.
Yeah, it disappeared suddenly.
No, it's go.
Hang on, because I just want to make sure that I do it with the same websites.
They've been together for a long time and they have like a grip of kids. So that's very interesting.
They've been together a very, very long time, which is why, okay, so his sun is Taurus 11 degrees. His ascending is Taurus 27 degrees.
So he's a 12th house sun. So the sun comes before the ascendant, which means it's interesting. 12th house sun men are very secretive. They're very, kind of secretive, kind of like on the DL. Notice they never have any drama that comes out in the media about their relationship. You never see him.
They did once many, many years ago, but that was it. That's it.
That's it. I haven't heard of anything. But he can be a little bit more behind closed doors. And 12th house sun men are kind of like secretive and sexy, in my opinion. But that also can be representation of the relationship with his father. Now, depending if there's other planets and how they're aspected, his dad may not have been around a lot when he was a kid. Okay. So it can really play a major role on how he chooses to be a father and what he does.
Wow.
What is his moon sign?
His moon is Capricorn,
okay.
29 degrees.
Ooh, wowzers. Okay. So anytime you have anything at 29 degrees, it's very stressful. And you have Pluto and you have Saturn coming for his moon here in the next couple of years. So emotionally, he's going to deal with some stuff. But that could actually affect his relationship with his own personal mother, depending on where everything like lines in the chart. But what sign is she?
She is an Aries and she is Cancer rising.
Okay, what's her moon? Let's find out. So he's a Taurus, Capricorn. He's such an earth daddy. I love those earth daddy men. They're so practical. They're so practical. And Taurus men are hot. They're like the brawny men.
Well, I mean, we all know what David Beckham looks like.
Yes,
and
we
I
do.
think every straight man would even be like, I'd probably hit that. All right, let's have a look at her a little bit more. Her moon is in Aquarius at 27 degrees.
Here's what's kind of interesting. So immediately off the bat, I find that very interesting. She seems like an Aquarian moon, very kind of like detached and kind of aloof. And the fact that she has a Cancer rising, she'll always look very youthful, but that also means that, she would wait a while before having kids and doing all of that stuff, which is actually kind of true. She didn't really do that off the bat. And her sun sign is what again?
Aries.
She's an Aries.
She's an Aries.
And
26 degrees.
That's interesting. So her sun then exactly squares his moon because it's like a 28 degrees moon. So it's interesting. She can sometimes take on a more masculine role in the relationship and he can kind of be a little bit more nurturing back down to her. And we see that.
We absolutely see that. We absolutely
but
see
I also
that.
remember, I'll find it, but I remember seeing something about their Venuses being aspected on a node. But what I like about this, though, is, usually I don't see a lot of Aries with Taurus. They say that you really want to pay attention to the sign that comes before you and you learn from them. So, people see Aries and they go, oh, well, they're so selfish. They can be, but because his rising sign is Taurus, that puts her sun in his 12th house, which is interesting. It somehow, because that's him, he gets it. They're both very private. They like to do things behind the scenes. They like to keep things behind the scenes. But I like it. It also means that he kind of, values her and he really values what they have. Her rising sign puts his sun in her 11th house, which is interesting. It's kind of like the trophy husband. It's look at what I've got.
Well, damn, look at what she's got. I want to find out how many years have they been married?
What's really interesting, that's why I asked you about Brad and Angelina, is when Jupiter went into Libra, Jupiter moves every year to a new sign. So it's been 12 years since it's been in Libra, and Libra is a sign of partnerships. 12 years ago, Brad and Angelina came out and started talking about the fact that they were having their affair and that they were a couple. And that's when they came out and they announced it. They got married, they had the kids, the whole 9 yards. And then the beginning of the fall in 2016, I was like, dude, they're going to break up. Like, it's going to happen. And sure enough, they split.
Damn. David and Victoria have been married for 18 years this year.
That's amazing to me.
So
And
they're a good match
I
on
think,
paper?
honestly, the fact that they both have those 12th house suns, yes. I say yes, absolutely. I think it can be a little hard, and, Aries women take a little bit of more time to kind of, get to where they need to go. Also, she's got, she said she's a 26-degree Aries. Is that what you said? That's right around my moon.
Yes, she's 26 degrees Aries.
Right now, Uranus is in 26 degrees of Aries. So she can be feeling a little rebellious. She could be going through some stuff. But once again, it's behind the scenes. Or how she's dealing with her husband and what's going on with her and husband. It's behind the scenes. So I don't think a lot, even if something went on, I don't think we'd hear a lot about it. But I think because they're so private, I like it. I like that Taurus men can be very slow and very patient. And I love men who have a Capricorn moon. I think Capricorn moons are really great because they get a bad rap for being Saturn based, but they're very practical, and they're very business savvy, and they think about security. And it can take a little time to get the mushiness out of them, but once you get it out of them, it's like you're gold. You're good.
Sweet. Yeah. Okay. Let's do so. I mean, they've been married for 18 years. I'm going to do a couple now that they didn't make it. And maybe you can shed some light on why they didn't make it.
Oh, who is it?
Justin and Brittany.
Oh, give it to me.
Britney Spears, Sagittarius. Justin Timberlake, Aquarius. Brittany, Libra rising.
Of course
Justin, Leo rising. Let me pull up some degrees
so
and facts.
she is a Libra rising Sag.
Correct.
So her son's in her third house. Libra and Taurus rising women are the most beautiful women. Did you know that?
I mean, I love Brittany.
Because they're ruled by Venus.
I don't know why I keep doing that.
Saturn's going over her son. Why isn't she making some music? What the hell is she doing?
She is still in Vegas, I want to say, but I might actually be wrong about that. And then let me.
Well, usually, Saturn transiting your son, you get your shit together, you get more responsible, you start focusing on your career. I wonder, is she a third house sun?
Let's have a look. So let's look at Brittany. So Brittany is 10 degrees Sagittarius. Ascendant is Libra, 2 degrees. Moon is in Aquarius at 12 degrees.
Her moon's in her 5th house.
What does that mean?
She's very maternal.
She's got 2 kids.
Yeah, but she's very creative. Emotionally, she's very creative. It's interesting. I mean, I would wonder. I bet she started doing Vegas in like 2015, 2016 when Saturn hit her sun. So that's putting herself back out there. Also, Jupiter crossed her ascendant. Her ascendant's almost the same as mine. It crossed last year. So it should have been a good year for her to get exposure. I would imagine, though, that as Saturn approaches her 4th house here soon, she might have another kid. She might get married.
She's in a relationship.
Down.
She's in a serious relationship.
Yeah,
she's kept on the DL.
She might actually get married again here soon when Saturn goes into her 4th house. And, the eclipses are happening over her moon. And so it is very possible she actually could be coming into a situation of maybe thinking about having another baby in the next year or so. It's very possible with that South Node hitting her moon.
So Justin's moon is in Sagittarius also at 24 degrees.
Okay. So, all right. So
is that good for them? Or?
So just to get this straight. So he's a Sag moon. She's a Sag sun.
Correct.
So that makes sense because if you've got a couple who have a sun moon conjunction, or vice versa, whoever it is, you're already going to be attracted to that person on an emotional level. Like, if I'm a Scorpio and somebody has a Scorpio moon, they may be another sign, but emotionally, I will like the way that they act towards me. So that already kind of says something.
Okay.
But then his rising sign is
Leo.
Leo, of course. Okay. And then he is in Aquarius?
Yes.
Okay. Aquarius and Sag, fire does fuel air. And I can see, especially because she's got that Aquarius moon, that there is a connection there that, like I said, that vice versa. You got the sun moon thing, so they understand each other. But there could have been a problem, I certainly think, with the fact that they were not able to be mature enough. Like, I still think that's a good match.
Yeah.
But I think with the Libra and with the Leo rising, it's kind of like, that's like the king and the queen. That in order for both of them to evolve with where they needed to go in their careers, they had to go separate ways. It made sense that they came together during those peak years, which was really like what?
99.
18 years ago.
Yeah,
So
99,
that was the last time we
2000.
had the nodes where they are now. The North Node in Leo was in
Wow.
her going in through her 10th house.
Wait, does this mean they're about to get back together?
No, but I think no, but I do think this means that both of them are going to be seeing some major changes in their career, and you're going to see some things that are going to come up, and they might be doing some new stuff.
Together?
No.
Even if it's professionally?
No, I don't think that's going to happen. I personally don't think that's going to happen, but it's very interesting that they're both dealing with Saturn, going through, one of them their sun, one of them their moon. They both are also dealing with having these, because they're the same age, so they're dealing with those nodal changes. And you're also seeing that they're dealing with the nodes going through the Aquarius placement, the South Node. So there's some kind of loss going on or some kind of change going on for both of them, one on an emotional level, one on a physical level. As the South Node goes through Justin's sun, perhaps maybe especially with the eclipses in Leo, he becomes a father again. He might have another baby.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
Between now and the end of next year. So that's very possible. Maybe they can cross paths. It's not abnormal.
And I was going to say, based on like their charts and everything, do you think they maybe would have been able to maintain some kind of friendship?
Well, it's hard. It's hard to say.
Nothing?
It's hard to say. I mean, I'm trying to leave what I kind of have heard out of it, and I just know that it kind of went down pretty shitty. And Aquarius men have a tendency to just like detach and be like, okay, whatever. They have like a delay, but the Leo rising in him is like can be very prideful, and so I think that says a lot about the fact that he didn't come out and he never really said what happened. He did that one video, but he never really said what happened. And it's also really amazing that Brittany didn't have another meltdown, because Saturn going through all of those planets for her and hitting her that way while having Jupiter in her 12th house last year that's a rough year. That was a rough. I know her chart because her chart's like mine. That's a rough year for her.
Wow.
So for her to be able to step out again and start performing might be the first step to her kind of trying to get back into the business. A lot of people say, well, once you hit Vegas, that's it. But
not these days.
I don't think that's the case,
not these days.
I don't think that's the case.
But a good match.
That's a good match. But it was
and Aquarius.
I think it can be interesting because they will both give each other lots of space. But Sagittarius women I feel like will always want and will always need more. Okay. And Aquarius men can have a tendency to have an emotional delay. So, but I mean, I know lots of Aquarius I love, but in that case, I can see why. I just feel like he would be a little bit more emotional than she would with the Aquarius
interesting.
Moon. Yeah,
that's interesting.
I, with the Sag moon, I feel like he'd be more of the feminine energy. They're kind of an inverse of each other. So it really makes sense to me that they were together, but it was supposed to be a timely thing.
A thing.
Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy.
Is it?
Yeah, I love it. Okay. So this one, this is like, we're really taking it there. And I tell you what, before I even say who we're talking about, I'm going to pull up this stuff online because I know you are absolutely going to ask.
Okay.
For all this information. I don't know why this came to my head. Actually, I do, because this guy has been on the news again quite a lot recently. And
is it Shia LaBeouf?
It's not. Actually.
Did you hear about his mental breakdown?
Oh God!
It's interesting because as I find that people are losing their shit in the media or people are dying, I immediately want to study their chart.
I'm sure you do. That's like your second nature.
Yeah, I just want to be like, oh, it makes sense.
The same way it's like I get stressed. I'm like, I need a cigarette. You're like, I need to look at their chart right now.
I'm so bad. Okay, go ahead.
You ready? We're gonna do O.J. Simpson.
Fuck.
And Nicole Brown. All right. He's July 9th. He's a Cancer. She, rest in peace, was May 19th. She was a Taurus. His rising is Leo, and her rising was Pisces. And I can give you numbers and degrees now. Would you like to know?
So
moons?
First of all, he is a Leo with a Cancer rising.
He is a Cancer with a Leo rising.
Which means his sun was in the 12th house, which means at some point he was supposed to be incarcerated.
And there you have it.
Okay. I want to see that motherfucker's chart.
His moon is in Pisces.
Which means he's crazy. I think it's interesting that the North Node is crossing his ascendant right now, which is bringing all of the attention to him. And he just walked on parole.
Yeah,
So he's getting all of this attention. But the eclipses are still happening on his sun. He needs to keep, not his sun, what am I saying? On his ascendant. He needs to keep his nose clean.
Okay.
But okay, all right.
And she was Taurus, Pisces rising with a moon in Libra at 8 degrees.
Taurus, Pisces rising, moon in Libra. Can I see your chart? I can see it from here. I'm just taking a look. Pisces rising, 7 degrees. What does she have in Cancer? Venus and Mars in Cancer, which is usually not that bad. But the fact that that is his 12th house is something that could have love that went really wrong inside of a home, in private, behind closed doors, in my opinion. Then look at her Uranus, which is in Leo. It's at 12 degrees. What degree is his rising sign in Leo? If that Uranus is close to her
24.
Okay, so
24
still
degrees.
it's still within about 12 degrees. Her energy being around him would just set him off. It can make him rebellious. And I don't know. I mean, I remember being a little kid.
I mean, and
when
that's the
this
same. I was a
going
kid,
on,
and
but
in no way are we trying to be disrespectful. This is just very fascinating and interesting.
I would bet you dollars to donuts. Lots of stuff came out in the testimony of people saying he was crazy, he was possessive, that he was stalking her, that he was watching her. Google it. See if there's anything that comes up.
I'm sure there'll be tons.
But I'm sure that he was a little bit crazy, possessive of her. You also mentioned, look at that.
Is there anything, and I have to ask these questions, is there, looking at, so right now we are looking at like an actual horoscope chart, her chart. Is there anything in there that tells you that is going to be a life cut short?
Well, that's when I bring the transits into play and I look at the transits and see what's going on with that. I mean, when the trial was happening, was that like 95? 96? I'm going to see what was going on at that time.
October the 2nd, 1995 was the verdict. Yeah. It started, gosh, I had no idea it was that long. It started in January 1995, ended October 1995.
Okay, let me go back in time. Dang. So it started when?
January 25th, to be really specific, 1995. And then the verdict came out on October 2nd, 1995.
So at that time, we had the South Node was in Aries and the North Node was in Libra. So the North Node was making its way through and hitting her moon in the house of death, which means a destined situation that could have been happening in regards to a relationship that led to a death. That's part of it. We'd have to look at the eclipses. Once again, if you look at the eclipses were in Aries and they were in Aries and Libra at that time. We also had, where was Saturn? Uranus and Neptune were in Capricorn, so the 11th house. A lot of craziness going on with friends. And what's interesting is, Uranus, I see Uranus and Neptune as being illusions and things that are happening unexpectedly, unpredictably. And look at where her Saturn is. Her Saturn's in Capricorn. So that was a Saturn return for her to some extent. Well, not a Saturn return, I take that back. But Uranus and Neptune were somehow playing with that, creating some discrepancies or different stories. Mm-hmm. We also had Pluto that was in Scorpio. And so if you go and you look at where Scorpio is in her chart, Pluto was going through the later degrees of her 7th house and going into her 8th house. So there's some stuff going on that you could start to suggest something might have been taking place. Absolutely. Chiron was going through her 7th house, so a lot of pain in relationships. I mean, you could draw some conclusions. You'd really have to look month by month.
Of course.
Yeah, and just the fact that he's got that 12th house sun, the Cancer rising is a little surprising. Was it Cancer or Leo?
For him?
Yeah.
Leo rising.
Oh, Leo rising. Okay. So that kind of...
He is a Cancer.
He is a Cancer.
Yeah.
Okay.
He is a Cancer.
He is a Cancer.
So is that a good... I mean, was that a good
Was
match?
that a good match? Listen, just because O.J. Simpson and she was a Taurus and a Cancer, it doesn't mean that they all work out that way. I have lots of people that I have worked with or who I know that are that combination and it works out fine. I'm not crazy about how some of the transits hit the chart. And so that's what I think is very interesting.
So it's more about the other kind of the rising signs and the moons,
exactly
as opposed to
and this is just the synastry of how they interact. A composite chart really tells you the real purpose for the relationship. I can just talk to you until the cows come home about how they interact, but what's so fascinating about astrology is like it's so dead on and it's so real that it will manifest and bring people into your life that will play out those transits. So like, let's say you've got Pluto going over your moon in your 8th house. And, you know, does that necessarily mean that you have to be murdered by your husband? No, but it means that it can manifest to putting you into a situation where you're dealing with emotional abuse with a partner, or your mom dies, or, you know, all kinds of other things that happen. So I think that maybe it was fated for that to happen, and it wouldn't have mattered where she was. She could have brought that energy in regardless.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, this is a really interesting one for me. Ellen DeGeneres and Portia de Rossi.
Oh, what sign are they?
Well, are you ready for this? Yeah. Ellen is an Aquarius. Her rising sign is Sagittarius.
Oh, she's spicy as fuck.
Portia is an Aquarius. Her rising sign is Sagittarius. Yes, I just repeated myself.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that.
Is that a good combo?
I think it's a pretty decent combination.
Does this depend though where their moon's gonna be?
It will play into it, but just the fact that they both have the same sun and the same rising, it doesn't always mean that the suns are in the same houses. But what's nice is at least you have a partnership where you and your partner are going through the transits at the same time. For example, you know, with that Sag rising, the Saturn's been going through the rising sign, so they may not be always spending a lot of time together.
Okay.
They can be finding that they're traveling a lot for work. They can find that they're both growing independently and learning themselves.
Okay.
What's the moons?
So Portia's moon is in Sagittarius at 28 degrees, and her ascendant, her rising, is Sagittarius.
Okay.
Ellen has an Aries moon in 17 degrees.
That's a great couple. That's probably the best one yet, because both of them have the same sun, both of them have the same rising, and they both have fire moons, one having Sag and one having Aries. That's probably why I like Ellen so much. She's just kind of like, fuck you.
Yeah.
She's very playful.
Yeah.
The Aries moon is very playful. But I like that Sag moon on her ascendant. It makes her very empathic. It also makes Portia very beautiful. Sag rising.
She is.
She is beautiful. She's the huntress, but also having that moon on her ascendant makes her very compassionate. It makes her very empathic. It makes her care about children. It makes her want to help people from other places. Mm-hmm. I'm surprised they haven't adopted any children. Have they?
No, but I know. Well, I think
they
have a lot of dogs. I think they've adopted dogs.
As Saturn hits their ascendant and then it hits her moon, maybe.
Wow.
You know, maybe. But that's the best. And the fact that they've got those fire moons is great. Like, I can have a sun sign that I don't jive with, but if they have an Aries moon, I love it.
Wow.
Like, not so much Sag moon, not crazy about Sag moon myself. Okay. That's me.
Yeah.
But if you've got a fire moon to fire moon, they will relatively trine. And so they'll have the same energy, which, I mean, that's the best couple yet. And that's also like.
Go Ellen and Portia.
We don't see any drama.
Damn,
and
we don't.
And it just works.
Wow. All right. New couple alert. Are they going to make it? Amber Rose, 21 Savage. He's fine. Okay. Her sun sign is Libra.
Okay.
His sun sign is Libra.
Okay.
She is an Aries rising, and he is a Scorpio rising.
You know what? I still like that.
Yeah?
Because the Aries rising puts Scorpio in the 8th house, which means there's going to be some really interesting connections between the two of them physically. But just the fact that, like, okay, read it to me again. I have like a terrible short-term memory.
They're both Libras.
Okay, so they're both Libras. So
they're
Jupiter,
both Libras. She's Aries rising. He's Scorpio. Would you like to look at moons?
This is interesting what we were talking about earlier, because I was telling you Jupiter's has been in Libra. So this is a good year for both of them to find new partners.
Okay.
And they can help each other's career. I like the fact also, based off of that rising connection, Uranus is like right along her ascendant, or it should be right along her ascendant, making her a little rebellious. And he probably, that Scorpio rising probably really likes it.
She has an Aries moon at 27 degrees, as well as being rising Aries.
Who was the other person that had that late degree Aries moon?
I want to say Victoria. No,
Yeah.
it wasn't Victoria Beckham.
No, yeah, it was her son. It was her
Yeah,
son.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting that she has got Uranus.
His moon is Virgo, just so you know. 16 degrees Virgo.
Okay, so Virgo moon, and then she is the Aries moon.
Mm-hmm,
Okay.
correct.
So, and she's an Aries rising.
Correct.
So she's got the moon and the ascendant. That's why she's doing all this women's rights stuff, you know, the anti-slut shaming, the morning after walk stuff. She's really stepping into her power and being like, fuck you. Like, there's nothing wrong with what I'm doing. That's actually really nice for a Scorpio rising. I think that makes them probably really kind of like magnetic to each other. What did you say that his moon
him
Virgo moon.
Yeah, he's a Virgo moon.
Virgo moon.
16 degrees.
So his moon's somewhere going to be around the 11th house. So that's not bad. That's not a bad placement. It makes him really social. And certainly if she's got a lot of that stuff going on with her right now, you know, and the nodes are moving into her 5th and 11th house.
They're certainly a pretty public couple.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of them out and about and having fun. Like a lot of them having fun. But I'm not seeing any aspects that really kind of throw me off. But this is a year for both of them to really have a really good shot at finding new partnerships as Libras. And so I really like the fact that they're coming together. I'm interested. I don't know a lot about him, but I would imagine he might have had some bumpiness last year.
I don't know. I know that he is younger than her.
Okay.
Not significantly, but
But you know that Uranus
9 years.
on her sun moon, it just makes her attract younger, wild, up and coming rebellious men. And so
there you have
in that
it.
case, I think that's hot. And Scorpio men who have a Scorpio rising, like they have this they say about Scorpios, the older we get, the younger we look. So it's interesting because the young ones are very mature and they can act very mature. So I think she can handle it. I think it's good.
All right. So far, the best couples have been Portia and Ellen and Amber and 21.
Yeah.
And what we're not liking really is Donald and Melania. Kim and Kanye.
Meh, they can be crazy and narcissistic together.
Okay. Right, last one.
Okay.
This is it. You ready?
Yeah.
Frank Ocean. He's a Scorpio.
Of course.
His rising sign is Capricorn.
Okay.
And me.
Really?
I'm an Aries and a Virgo rising.
Okay, Aries, Virgo rising. He's got a Capricorn rising, and he's a what?
Scorpio.
Okay. Well, I mean,
Be real. Tell me if it's not gonna work.
Can I see his chart?
Sure.
Because I have your chart on my phone.
That's on speed dial.
Told you
I just thought this would be a fun one to finish with, and then maybe will be a perfect match, and he'll watch this, or one of his people will, and my phone will blow up.
This is
Maybe.
I feel dumb even saying this. I didn't know he was gay.
Okay.
Is he?
He's but yeah.
I didn't know he was gay.
Yeah.
Can I get a phone a friend?
Okay. I've got his chart here.
Okay.
His moon is also in Capricorn as well as his rising.
Can I see the chart? I'm just visual. Just the fact that he's got a Cap rising. Oh, it's not a Cap rising, Cap moon. Oh my gosh, look at all that stuff in Scorpio.
He is a Scorpio.
Mercury, Sun, Pluto, Venus. That is one sexy man.
I know.
You want to know?
That's why I'm asking.
He's very sexual. Look at that North Node on his ascendant. But
works for me.
I would imagine he's probably not seen out and about with people, is he? Mm-hmm. Ever. He's never got people with him, huh?
Nope.
You know, that North Node right on his ascendant is like he's really having to come off as somebody who is very independent, alone. Look at that Jupiter and Aries in the first. Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, all going across the top of his chart. The Saturn, Uranus, he's probably expanding the kind of music that he's making. It's going to change. He's going to have other cultural influences going into what he's doing and other sounds and working with other people and going to other places.
That's really exciting because his music's bomb anyway.
It's going to get even bigger, better. Then look at that Neptune in the 10th. No wonder he does music. Neptune, it's about octaves and stuff, but also it's really hard for him to focus on other things. So all of those emotions that Mercury, how I communicate, Sun, Pluto people are the best. He certainly is a very sexual, magnetic person. He needs partnership, and it certainly fuels what he talks about. And then look at this. basically all of the planets are on the top part of his chart. So he's out there in the open. He's exposing his soul and his emotions. I don't really even listen to him. That Capricorn moon, though, shit's gonna get really interesting for him when Saturn shows up, because he's gonna really be a big boy with some of the stuff he's working on. The fact that, first of all, his North Node is in Aries, it does help your cause, because that's 1 degree. That your sun is 4 degrees. So your sun lands in his first house. So, of course, you're going to be drawn to him. Also, Uranus, Neptune, Saturn, Capricorn stuff. You guys got that same stuff going on. His moon is the same degree as your Mars. So it's like, do you really feel his music physically? Like you feel it in
like
you.
You mean on Saturday was I stood there crying my eyes out when he was performing? Yes.
Yeah, you
correct.
really feel him.
Yeah.
You don't really have too much going on in Scorpio. I like that his Venus opposes your Venus. So it's like, I want you, but I could never have you.
From who?
Him. Like, you feel that about him. Okay. That opposition, it can be a little bit difficult.
I love how I was like, he wants me, but he thinks he can't have me. Why on earth?
Oh, no. I meant the other way around. Does he have anything? He doesn't have anything in Virgo. Do you have anything in Libra? No, that Pluto, you guys have like a similar Pluto to Pluto. Actually, your Pluto is very close to his. So, yeah, I could see that. But like I said, is it a good match? I would actually say yes, because I'm not seeing anything that's not aspected. And for you,
he was like, yay, we
got a winner. Well, please send us an email so we can set up a blind date. I like it. I really do like it. Although I don't know if it's gonna.
What are the negatives? It's not gonna happen, obviously. But let's just.
To be honest
with
you,
negatives?
There's no real negative, because Capricorn energy bodes well for you. Scorpio energy is really great for you too, because you value and you really connect to the creativity. And you guys have very, very. I'm not saying similar charts, but there is a lot that's in common. It would be a good match. I think his moon in Capricorn is nice for you, because it means that emotionally you would really feel his emotions in your body. So it's like, who knows what happens when Saturn comes around? Maybe you'll meet him. That's very interesting, because Saturn's going to hit your moon Mars. So that, or he's going to put out something else that you're really like, yeah, this is my jam.
So that's probably more likely.
Probably.
He's going to put out a new song.
Probably, yeah.
As opposed to me just bumping into him at Rite Aid or something.
I mean, maybe. But he has no Virgo. He doesn't have anything really going on either in Aries other than that North Node. But it's close to your sun. So it makes sense that you would want to be around him.
Okay, interesting.
You know? Absolutely.
That was so much fun. I love that.
That was fun. And next time when I come back, I want to talk to you, because I want to tell you about. I got to talk to a Vedic astrologer, and you're gonna laugh your ass off, because I have a funny story.
You have like a 5-year plan now, don't you?
I did. I kind of had a bit of a like, I need to talk to somebody I don't know who doesn't know me.
Mm-hmm.
And those of you guys who don't know, Vedic astrology and Western astrology is totally different. So I really resonate with like all of my planets in Scorpio and Capricorn in Western astrology. However, in Vedic astrology, I'm actually a Libra sun, and I'm a Virgo rising, which is not true. I'm the messiest person ever. And my moon is 29 degrees Pisces.
Wow.
And my mom is kind of crazy. So it makes sense. But at the same time, I've been like, no. But Vedic astrology is known for its like creepy accuracy. And so I actually spoke to somebody, and it was just interesting. I was like, what do I need to know? And he explained everything that's going on. And then, you know, astrologers in other countries are looked at very differently. They're almost kind of like doctors, and they can treat you from everything from what's going on with, you know, digestive stuff, which he talked to me about, and he told me why it was happening and changes in my career and why I'm traveling a lot, and then I'm going to be traveling and teaching, and was talking to me about my love life and my karma. And apparently my karma is to learn not to date crazy people, and that I have a lot of teaching and writing karma. So it's like I'm going to be writing books about dating and relationships and astrology, which is cool that you were talking about this, because I haven't talked about this yet.
Yeah.
And that but a lot of it's going to be as a result of my own experiences. And then she talked about the people that I'm going to be meeting and who I'm going to be with, and also talked about karmic relationships and why all of these things are coming in and out of my life right now, and then started talking to me about when I'm going to get married and when I'm going to be having babies, which it just makes my palms sweat even thinking about it. But it was like really interesting because I've been fearing my Saturn return and I have a totally different perspective on it now.
Wow, that's good because you had been dreading it. I'm sorry, I have to pull this up. So the astrology that you and that we on the day-to-day look at is Western.
But
so what is this?
This is Vedic. So you can go and put your information into a Vedic calculator and it'll give you a totally different way of reading it. But they read like a box that has all these squares and then they have all of these different areas and like each area and where the planets go are connected to like different like gods and goddesses, like Indian and Hindu gods and goddesses. So then the things that I spoke to a he and a she. I spoke to two different people, but he was like giving me all of these spiritual RXs. And so it was really funny because he was saying, you need to get out and be walking a lot because it's Saturn and Saturn is the knees and the bones and getting, structured. And then I need to buy my malas and start hiking and doing my mantra when I get to the top of the hill. And by doing that, it's going to change business for me. And then I'm more going into a space of being a writer and a teacher and being in the media and teaching through astrology and then having my own shop and building my own space.
And that's so interesting to me though, because you're coming up as kind of the polar opposite of what you would be in Western.
Exactly, which is why I'm like,
I'm doing this right now. This is kind of right now.
So I want to tell you about the spiritual RX because it was really funny. And he's like, you're very like Shakti, very like Kali Ma energy. It's like very intense. Yes.
South Indian.
Very intense, like dark goddess energy. And he was like, yeah, you probably love the dark and you love morbid things and you love antiques and you love...
Oh my God, you do? Remember we walked into that shop?
Exactly.
I couldn't get you out of there. You were like all about it.
And then he was saying all of this stuff to me and basically said, what's going to happen is you need to go and do your mantras and you need to hike. But then he's like, you need to go and get a statue for the monkey god and you need to do... Yeah, so he said, get the monkey god statue. I can't even pronounce the name, but it's like a little monkey and burn incense for him and then go and do your hikes and then do your mantras and come back and like worship the monkey god. And then now I have like sun salutations. So when the sun comes up, I greet the sun and I do that because I'm coming into a 6-year period for my work. And then he said, go and do this stuff and work with Lakshmi and eat my honey and do my prayers for Venus and that it's going to help offset some stuff in my life. And so every morning I get up. Well, the first day I was like, I'm going to go hiking and I'm going to pray to the monkey god. And I actually hiked down the street to buy donuts and tea.
And then went home.
But did my mantras on the way home.
Oh,
it wasn't really uphill.
Okay.
And then I came back
There's
and I did
a little hill.
So
I
I'm
know
trying.
You're straight. There's a little hill.
I'm trying, but it's very interesting. So
oh wow.
let me see because I can't read this shit.
I can't.
But does it give you your
like break down text? Anyways, you have to use the mouse because.
Oh, sorry. I'm like.
So
go scroll up. So does it tell you? Oh, like wait, hold on. Yeah, see, I don't even know.
No,
you would try. We would try another one. I'll get it and I'll pull it for you. But it's so see. It's like it looks like bingo squares to me.
Yeah, that really does.
Put Vedic astrology birth chart like breakdown or try that one. Usually it'll tell you the degrees of everything, which I think is very interesting. And then the more that I thought about it, I was like, how cool. If I am a Virgo rising, I still have Mercury and my sun in my second house and it's in Libra. And I'm like, I'm so not a Libra. But he's like, yeah, but you're going to make money by writing about relationships and astrology. And like, if you want to sleep at night, don't get a Vedic reading because they will tell you literally down to the month that you're going to have a baby or get married or when a sibling dies.
Are you kidding me?
Or when you inherit land or when somebody can get in a car crash. It was like 2 hours of me sitting there being like, holy shit, this is nuts. And gave me a complete rundown.
You can generate your card here, your chart here. This makes no sense. Okay, that is where I was born. Continue.
Okay, scroll down.
Does it do a break?
Scroll down though. Interesting. I'm gonna find it for you. I know a site that will do it.
Whew. I don't understand.
But that's the thing. So scroll down on the little thing. That's why I was looking at this. Oh yeah. Okay. Let me see. There we go. There's the money. Okay.
I'm Leo rising.
Okay, so the eclipses for you are a big deal. Look at that, 15 degrees. The eclipse is going to be opposite of your ascendant, which means you're getting ready to meet someone.
Really, though?
Yeah, really.
All right.
Okay, and your moon is in Pisces like me.
No.
Yeah, look.
My moon's in Gemini.
Or is it
My
your sun?
sun is in Pisces.
Oh, your sun is in Pisces. Okay.
Hang on, that doesn't... So it's literally changed
It
my
literally
sun
changes
sign.
everything. That's what I'm saying.
So I'm a Pisces. I don't want to be a Pisces. I like being Aries.
But you kind of could be a Pisces.
Hey, watch it.
You could be a Pisces. Leo rising. That's very regal. Gemini moon still.
Go figure.
Where is your Venus? Oh, it's still Venus and Jupiter.
Aries.
Look at your Venus. It's like the same degree as my moon. Saturn and Sag.
So we still love each other.
We still love each other.
Good.
So we're still a good couple. But it's so interesting because
Wow.
the more I learn about Vedic, I'm like, oh my gosh, there's all these other sides to my personality.
So what, is there a right and wrong?
No, it's just different. It's just different flavors. But yeah, if you want to talk to my guy, you should talk to him. He's great. He's in India and he takes like 911 situations like me on the regular.
That'd be interesting.
But yeah, I'll send you the info. We can chat about it next time.
Damn, right. I'm keeping that window open
Leo
for some time.
rising.
Oh, God. Go ahead.
Well, that was fun.
Well, that was awesome. I really enjoyed that. And good luck to Amber Rose and 21 Savage and to
Yeah.
Ellen and Portia because it seems to be good. And Kim, if you can stick it out with Kanye, do it. If not, just...
Take half.
Yeah, take half, take the kids, and stay away from your crazy mother.
Fuck, we're going to get sued.
Oh, see you next week. We love
Bye,
you.
guys.
Bye.